disciples said to Jesus, "Tell us what the kingdom of heaven is like." He said to them, "It is like a mustard seed, smaller than all seeds, but when it falls on the tilled earth, it produces a large branch and becomes shelter for all the birds of heaven."
Human relationship has changed a lot, and has changed for the worse in all dimensions. The deeper relationships have disappeared. The wife is no more a wife, but just a girlfriend. The husband is no more a husband, but just a boyfriend. Friendship is good, but cannot be very deep. Marriage is something which happens in the depth. It is a commitment in depth. And unless you commit, you remain shallow. Unless you commit, you never take the jump. You can float on the surface, but depths are not for you. Of course, to go into the depth is dangerous, bound to be so, because on the surface you are very efficient. On the surface you can work like an automaton. No awareness is needed. But the more you penetrate into the depth, you will have to be more and more alert, because every moment death is possible. Fear of death has created a shallowness in all relationships. It is juvenile. A boyfriend or a girlfriend may be fun, but it cannot become a door to the deepest that is hidden in each and every one. With a girlfriend you can be sexually related, but the love cannot grow. Love needs deep roots. Sexuality is possible on the surface, but sexuality is just animal, biological. It can be beautiful if it is part of a deeper love. And if it is not part of a deeper love, it is the most ugly thing possible, the ugliest. Because then there is no communion. You simply touch each other and separate. Only bodies meet, but not you, not I, not thou. This has happened in our relationships, but the greatest relationship has completely disappeared. And the greatest relationship is between a master and a disciple. You will not be able to understand Jesus if you cannot understand the dimension of that relationship which exists between a master and his disciples. That has completely disappeared. Wife is substituted by a girlfriend. Husband is still substituted by a boyfriend. But the master and the relationship that exists between him and the disciples has completely disappeared. Or it has been substituted by a very contrary thing that exists between a psychiatrist and his patient. Between a psychiatrist and his patient, a relationship exists which is bound to be ill, pathological. Because a patient comes not in search of truth, really not in search of health, because this word health is very meaningful. It means wholeness. It means holiness. It means a deep healing into the self. A patient comes not for health, because if he comes for health, he cannot be anything else than a disciple. A patient comes to get rid of the illness. The attitude is totally negative. He has come just to be forced to become normal again, just to become a working part of the normal world again. He has become maladjusted. He needs adjustment, and the psychiatrist helps him to be adjusted again. But adjusted to whom? Adjusted to this world, this society, which is absolutely ill. What you call the normal human being is nothing but normal pathology, or normal madness, normal insanity. The normal man is also insane, but insane within the boundaries, accepted boundaries of the society, of the culture. Somebody sometimes trespasses, goes beyond the boundaries, then he becomes ill. Then the whole society which is ill says that that man is ill. And the psychiatrist exists on the boundary to help this man back to the crowd. The psychiatrist cannot be the master because he himself is not whole. And the patient cannot be the disciple because he has not come to learn. He is disturbed and he wants not to be disturbed. His effort is only for adjustment, not for health. And the psychiatrist cannot be the master. He is pretending in the West, and sooner or later he will pretend in the East also that he is the master, but he cannot be. He himself is ill. He may help others to be adjusted. That's okay. One ill man can help another ill man in some ways. But one ill man cannot bring another man who is ill to be whole. One madman cannot help another madman to go beyond madness. Even your Freuds, your Jungs, your Adlers are absolutely ill. Not only the ordinary psychiatrists, but the greatest of them are ill and pathological. I will tell you a few things so you can feel. Whenever somebody will mention anything about death, Freud will start trembling. Twice even he fainted and fell down from the chair, just because somebody was talking about mummies in Egypt. He fainted. Another time also, Jung was talking about death, corpses, and suddenly he trembled and fell down. Fainted, became unconscious. If death is such a fear to Freud, what about his disciples? And why death should be such a fear? Can you conceive a Buddha afraid of death? Then he is no more a Buddha. Jung has reported that many times he wanted to go to Rome to visit the Vatican, and particularly the library, Vatican's library, which is the greatest, which has the secret most records of all the religions that have existed, which is rare. But whenever he will go to purchase the ticket, he will start trembling. Just going to Rome, what will happen when you go to Moksha? And he will cancel the ticket and come back. He never went. Never. Many times he tried, and in the end he decided, no, I cannot go. What is the fear going to Rome? Why a psychiatrist is afraid of going to religion? Because Rome is just the symbol, the representative. And this Jung has created a philosophy around his mind, and that philosophy is afraid of being shattered. Just as if a camel is afraid to go to the Himalayas. Because when a camel comes near the Himalayas, for the first time he comes to know that he is nothing. This whole philosophy that Jung has created is just childish. Because man has created so vast and cosmic systems. And all those systems are in ruins now. The fear is going to Rome means going to the ruins of the great systems that the past has created. What about your small system? What about this small corner that you have cleaned and decorated? What about your philosophy? Great philosophies have tumbled down and gone to dust. Go to Rome, see what has happened. Go to Athens, see what has happened. Where are the schools of Aristotle and Plato and Socrates? All have disappeared into the dust. Greatest systems in the end come to the dust. All thoughts finally prove to be useless, because thought is just a man-created thing. Only in no thought you come to know the divine. Through thought you cannot come to know the eternal, because thought is of the time. And thought cannot be of the eternal. No philosophy, no system of thought can be eternal. That was the fear. At least 4 or 5 times Jung made reservations and cancelled. And this Jung is one of the greatest of psychiatrists. What about his disciples? If he is so afraid of going to Rome, even you are not afraid, not because that you are better than Jung, just only because you are more unaware. He is aware that in Rome his head will come down the moment he will look at the ruins of all the great systems. A trembling, a fear of death, that what will happen to my system? What will happen to me? Takes the grip. He trembles and comes back. And in his memoirs he writes, then finally I dropped the whole project. I'm not going to Rome. And this same happened to Freud many times. He also tried to go to Rome. Then it seems not just a coincidence. And he was also afraid. Why? Freud is as angry as you can be. Freud is as sexual as you can be. Freud is as scared of death as you can be. Freud is as neurotic in his behavior as you can be. So what is the difference? He may be a more intelligent man, maybe a genius perhaps. He can help a little, but he is as blind as you are as far as the ultimate is concerned, as far as the secret most, the innermost core of being is concerned. No, psychiatry cannot become religion. It may become a good hospital, but it cannot become the temple. It is not possible. And a psychiatrist may be needed because people are ill, maladjusted. But a psychiatrist is not a master. And the patient is not a disciple. And if you come to a master as a patient, then you will miss. Because a master is not a psychiatrist. I am not a psychiatrist. People come to me, they say that I am suffering from this mental anxiety, neurosis, this and that. I say it is okay because I am not going to treat your anxiety. I am going to treat you. I am not concerned with your diseases. I am simply concerned with you. And diseases are on the periphery. And there is no disease where you are. And once you come to realize who you are, all diseases disappear. They are basically because you have been hiding self-knowledge. You have been avoiding yourself, the basic encounter. You have been avoiding. You don't want to look at yourself. Why you don't want to look at yourself? What has happened to you? And unless you are ready to encounter yourself, you cannot become a disciple, because a master can do nothing if you are not ready to face yourself. He can only help you to face yourself. Why you are so afraid? Something has gone somewhere in the past. A child is born. He is not accepted as he is. Many things have to be changed. Forced, he has to be disciplined. He has many parts. With the society, the parents, the mother, the father, they cannot accept. Those parts have to be denied, repressed. Only few parts can be accepted and appreciated. So the child has to work it out. He has to deny his many fragments of being, which cannot be allowed manifestation. He has to deny them so much that he himself becomes unaware of them. This is what repression is, and the whole society exists on repression. A greater part of the being of the child has to be repressed, completely thrown into the dark. But that repressed part asserts, tries to rebel, react, wants to come in the light. And you have to force it again and again back. Because of this, you become afraid to encounter yourself, because what will happen to the repressed part? That will come again. That will be there. What will happen to the unconscious? If you encounter yourself, the unconscious will be there. All that you have denied will be there. And that gives you fear. Unless a child is accepted totally, as he is or she is, this fear is bound to remain. But no society has yet existed which accepts a child totally. And no society seems to exist ever which will accept the child totally, because it is almost impossible. So repression is bound to be there more or less. And everybody has to face someday this problem of facing oneself. You become disciple the very day you forget about what is good, what is bad. You forget about what is accepted, what is not accepted. You become a disciple only the day you are ready to expose your whole being to yourself. The master is just a midwife. He helps you to pass through a new birth, be reborn. And what is the relationship between a master and a disciple? A disciple has to trust. He cannot doubt. If he doubts, then he cannot expose himself. When you doubt somebody, you shrink. You cannot expand. When you doubt a stranger is there, then you close yourself. You cannot be open because you don't know what this stranger is going to do to you. You cannot be vulnerable before him. You have to protect. You have to create an armor. With a master, you have to drop the armor completely. That much is a must. Even before a lover, you may carry your armor a little. Before a beloved, you may not be so open. But with a master, the openness has to be total. Otherwise, nothing will happen. If you withhold even a little part of you, the relationship is not there. Total trust is needed. Only then the secrets can be revealed. Only then the keys can be offered to you. But if you are hiding yourself, that means you are fighting with the master. Then nothing can be done. A struggle is not the key with the master. Surrender is the key. And surrender has disappeared from the world completely.